Hello. Welcome. It's time for me to play Citizen Sleeper 2. The sequel to the game where I presently hold the world record for the any percent run. Which is not something you do for a game you don't care about, usually. Typically. I don't want to speak for every speedrunner out there, but this game's... the first Citizen Sleeper means a lot to me, and I've been very much looking forward to this. And I'm excited to dig in. I'm going to click to start, and I'm going to hit new game, and I'm going to choose the first slot. We have our difficulty. I'm going to choose the intended difficulty to start out. For those happy to be challenged, we'll try it. We might try dangerous someday, but for now we're going to start off with risky. Broken dice cannot be used. Standard stress tolerance, and death incurs a significant permanent penalty. Watch out. So we've got operator, extractor. I'm just trying to get a vibe right now. Machinist. Not good at engage is the machinist. Diligent, careful, and structured people. Okay. Not good at endure, the operator. Cerebral and precise people. What was the special ability here? +1 stress gives +2 and focus on the lowest dice. And -1 stress on focus die positive outcome. Drackley, thanks for the subscription.
Drockley just subscribed. Drockley 1 Mubwave Drockley 1 yard 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 Drockley 1.
Oh, it cut off. Incredible. Welcome on in. Door. Dial. We might try a machinist, and then we'll just know we're not very good at engaging. This happens from time to time, not being very good at engaging. Let's try it. You gotta be bad at something in this world. In the moment before waking, the dark space before conscious thought, you struggle to find the pieces of yourself. Usually these pieces come with a particular cadence, each appearing sequentially, like the boot process of an old terminal. First, your body, artificial, compromised, but relaying sense data all the same. Then, it's context. The breeze of air filtration, the soft contact of your birth in 0G. Then emotion, coming into focus, coming into your body, bringing with it that first instinct, the one that has framed your past 100 cycles. Fear. But that familiar sequence does not arrive. Instead, you are unmoored in space, your body distant, your context silent, even your emotions somehow obscured and scattered. Among all that disarray, only one familiar thing arrives. The fear. It is a scrambled, panicked fear. The drowning fear, the falling fear, the fear that makes you reach desperately for any stable point. It is the fear that tells you something is wrong. Something is very wrong with you. Wake up, sleeper. The voice is whispered in your ear, an act that makes you suddenly aware of your head pulsing in pain, your body rigid with tension. Sleeper. A familiar name. A mind copied, emulated. A body built, implanted. One person sleeping until their debt is worked away, their double being made to work, to be consumed, and eventually to be destroyed. A proxy. An emulation. A sleeper. That is what you are. But you escaped. You remember that now. Broke free of your corporate creators, S and ARP, in search of a future. You cannot remember the details of your escape, but you know the fear has been with you ever since. All of a sudden, you remember you have eyes, and your eyes flicker open. Pale eyes and a pale face. Lane. The name comes with its own specific sensation of fear, one you recoil from instinctively. Sorry to interrupt. A sharp smirk. But this ends here. You search your mind for more than a name. Is this how you reward me for my generosity? Lane is leaning over your horizontal floating body, looking down into your eyes. I took you in, protected you, gave you a purpose. You try to look away, but to the corners of your vision to find something you understand. Your body does not respond. But I suppose that wasn't enough. He reaches into the pocket of his jacket and retrieves a small vial. This wasn't enough. The vial glitters. This object you know and have known for a long time. Stabilizer. The drug that keeps your artificial body, your emulated mind, from inevitable decay. The only balm for your planned obsolescence. The liquid roiling in the vial fills you with disgust. Lane pockets the vial. But it would have been wasted on you now, after what you have done to this body of yours. He looks at you with a palpable disgust. Lane's eyes scan your body, and as they do, you become aware of the wires and tubes attached to you. Those that were meant to free you from your dependence, from the stabilizer and the control it grants Lane. They are free, you piece of shit. They don't need you anymore. The voice comes from somewhere behind Lane's head. It is a voice you know, but when you search your mind to try and understand why, you find only dizzying darkness. Shut him up. Lane barks the command, and you hear the sounds of impact, of pain from elsewhere in the room. You try to move your limbs again, and this time you feel a flicker, the twitch of a finger. You feel the extension and compression of synthetic muscle. Free, are you? Lane smirks. You were free when I disabled your tracker, when I gave you the stabilizer you needed. He scans your body with angry eyes. Now you aren't free. You're just broken. I don't know about Serial Project, but this Lane sure is a piece of work. I had such big plans for you, Sleeper. I invested in you. Lane grips your arm hard and you feel a jolt of reaction. You will the arm to move. You have ruined all that. Lane speaks louder over the sound of the struggle behind him. I will try to preserve your body, of course. I have my own uses for it, but your emulation? You feel one of his hands searching behind your head. He finds and grips the thick cable running into the port at the base of your skull. I will burn that out. Lane jerks forward, slamming across your body, then spinning away out of sight. You feel yourself rolling, the cables plugged into you, looping and wrapping around your limbs. Then you feel hands steadying you, pulling cables. You glance around wildly and see someone diligently unplugging you. You meet his eyes. Hey! He waves a hand in your dazed face. We need to move. Lane won't be out long. He unloops a cable from around your waist. Sleeper, help me out here. You blink slowly. Do you know this person? He leans over you and you feel his hands on the connector, flicking switches, releasing locks. Come on, come on, come on! He tugs the connector clear and pulls you up. You see the room you are in for the first time, filled with tech and terminals, wires waving everywhere, all lit by big windows looking out on an impossibly bright, screen-filled street beyond. In the corner, you see the dark shape of a floating body surrounded by a glittering constellation of crimson baubles. Is that blood? Move! You are wrestled and shoved towards the door, which slides open in front of you, and then you are out in all that brightness, all that movement, gliding hard towards some unknown destination. Scene change. You come to a stop in a dark alley, the one who guided you here pausing to catch his breath. He doubles over beside a massive life support unit that sends a lukewarm breeze across your skin. Let me drop game audio just a little bit. You stare at him, trying to recall anything about him. You notice his tattered jacket, his lightweight clothes. You remember the station runs hot. Something about the power that flows through the place. He looks up and meets your eye. What's going on, sleeper? He wipes sweat from his forehead and it floats away in a swarm of spheres. Talk to me. Who are you? You see a concerned frown across his face. Don't mess with me, sleeper. That's not funny. He comes closer, eyeing you carefully. What station are we on? He narrows his eyes, waits for the answer. You close your eyes, trying to recall. You force your way through the dark to the image of a station. No, a city, growing on the back of a vast set of hexagonal solar cells, shadowed by them. You open your eyes. Dark side. The word leaves your mouth like an exhale, an instinct. Before you heard yourself sound it out, you didn't know it was there. He sighs. And me. Who am I? You see something like fear in his eyes. Panic, perhaps. You stare hard at his face. The slight upturn of his mouth, the intensity of his stare. Nothing comes. Closes his eyes and drops his head, putting a hand to his temple. The reboot. He is speaking quietly to himself. Lane interrupted the process, and he lifts his head and stares at you. We need to keep going. We need to leave. He turns and kicks Alf down the alley. Come on. The rig can't be far. Another scene change. As you are led through the passages and serviceways of the station, you try to recall your life here. Yeah, we're not on the back of a bunch of elephants. We're on a different place in space. The texture, the temperature of Darkside feels familiar, but you struggle to pin specific memories to it. Focusing hard, you recall waking up in these passages, cycle after cycle, the rhythms of the station flowing over you along with the crowds. You recall desperation and the slow decay of your body that caused it. Then Lane, those pale eyes, offering you a glittering vial, stabilizer. The promise of supplying more for your work, a deal he locked you into like a cage. There your memory fails you, but in the dark beyond that moment, the residue of panic, of fear, remains. You were Lane's prisoner, Lane's plaything. You shudder in the cold passage. Wait. Your guide holds up a hand, and you stop your glide using the wall. Ahead, you see the tunnel opens up into a wide open bay with a few doors leading to cylindrical tunnels. Tunnels. The docks. They're watching the rig. He nods towards the docks, and you see one of the doors has a couple of figures flanking it, one covered in ornate tattoos, the other with bright silver implants along their cheekbones. Utsubo, Lane's guys. He looks at you and shakes his head in frustration. All this, it's not coming back to you, is it? Something catches your eye and you see he is playing with a coin, nervously turning it over in his fingers. He sees you looking at it and slips it away. He places his hand on his chest. I'm Seraphin, all right? He looks pained when he speaks. Lane, he was our captor, both of us. We did this so we could escape. We needed to reboot you, to break your dependence on stabilizer. He pauses. You know what that is, right? You nod meekly. But Lane interrupted me back there. The reboot didn't complete, and... He sighs and shakes his head. We can still make this work. He looks back at the docks. I'll lead them away. You get the docking bridge open. If we make it to the rig, I know how to get us in. Got that? Searches your face for a sign of recognition. Through context clues, I think I know what the rig is, so I've got it. Get that door open. He pats you on the shoulder. I know you can do this. I know you know you can do this. I read it too fast. Seraphin kicks off hard and glides into the docks. Over here, shitheads, he bellows to the guards as he barrels through. They immediately push off from the wall, giving chase. You wait a breath, then glide across to the door they were guarding. You look, already panicked, at the tightly sealed door, its control panel locked out. You hear a shout from somewhere nearby. You need to get it open. During scenes, you may encounter skill checks, where you can perform certain actions using your skills. Like the dice actions you will encounter later, skill checks can have a positive, neutral, or negative outcome. The better the rating of your skill, the more likely you'll be to succeed on a check. The odds of success are displayed when you select the check. You can see more info in the guide section of the pause menu. I'm not much of a hacker. We're going to try and break it. Positive. You shift to the central access panel and wrench it open. It takes only a moment to understand the mechanism, and you reach in and snap the locking axis, the door popping open with a hiss. Go, go! Seraphin flies past you, through the doorway into the docking tunnel. You turn to see the two guards approaching fast across the docks, and quickly glide after Seraphin. Seraphin is already at the rig's door inputting an entry code. The rig's door scissors open, and you both rush inside. Quickly! Seraphin grabs you by the arm and drags you up to the cockpit, the ship's layout hazy in your mind. He dumps you into a flight seat and straps himself into his own. You see him tap a series of buttons as he does, talking to himself. Come on! The rig's drive rumbles into life, and Seraphin slams a button on the console. You feel the force of the ship's acceleration as it pulls away. Space! Oh, what an auspicious opening roll. As the ship glides into place on the connecting bridge, the automatic systems nudge there by the port's docking protocols. You feel a sense of relief. Seraphin burned hard out of Darkside, and you dropped in and out of consciousness in your seat as the rig made its way across the belt. But now, with open space between you and Lane, you feel fresher, more awake. Seraphin breaks the silence. We're good, sleeper. His eyes don't leave the monitor, and you realize this part of your escape is routine for him. You and he must have docked this ship countless times in your work for Lane. The problem is, you don't remember any of them. We made it, he whispers, closing his eyes and letting out a sigh. We certainly did. I'm certain that we made it. He turns, and you see a pained look on his face, as if remembering something difficult. Have you said this exact same thing to him before, in the same situation? Are you okay? He looks at you, chewing one side of his lip, searching your face. Not really, he puffs. Seraphin reaches up, flicking through a set of switches in a practiced fashion, completing the shutdown. You watch, a little frustrated with your own uselessness. Running the rig, you realize, is just another thing you've forgotten. A clunk that runs through the walls of the ship is followed by a short, percussive alarm tone from the pilot's console. Docking complete. Seraphin kicks off from his seat, twisting as he glides past you towards the back of the cockpit. His hands find the rails on either side of the door, and he pauses, facing into the corridor beyond. He turns back to you, backlit in cold cyan. We need a plan. He glances around. Lane's not going to let us slip away quietly, he sighs. We keep running. Seraphin nods. That's what it feels like, right? That we can never get far enough away from that shithead. You see a shiver run through him, and you know he suffered as much as you did under Lane. We have bought ourselves some time. He glances through the cockpit window at the blinking lights of the station. You may not remember Hexport, but I do. There are plenty of opportunities here for us, if we can keep our heads down. He turns back to the corridor. That's what we'll do. He pushes off and glides towards the main lock, and you follow, pulling yourself along, hand over hand in 0G. We already emptied the tank on this thing. Slaps a hand on the ship's insides. So we need to refuel, and that won't be cheap. But if you and I know one thing, Sleeper, it's how to work. I'm going to get myself reacquainted. See if I can turn up any old connections. Well, that might throw us an easy contract. You... He glances back over his shoulder. You keep yourself out of trouble. Low profile, got it. Seraphin stops at the airlock. Stopping the reboot halfway through. He pulls a worn crew jacket from a locker and starts pulling it on. We don't know what that did to you. He jams an arm into a sleeve. I don't want you passing out, and he stops. It'll take both of us. Seraphin sighs. I hate it when you're right. He grabs another crew jacket and thrusts it at you. Just put the damn hood up, will you? You take it and slip it on. Thank you. Seraphin nods. He stabs at the button to open the lock. The inner door hisses open, and Seraphin glides through. Wait for a little bit, then leave. Anyone looking for us will be looking for two people traveling together. He looks at you in your worn crew jacket, a limited disguise for what is clearly a sleeper. We meet back here later. Any trouble? Same thing. Meet here. He surveys your disguise again and shakes his head. This is a shitty idea. Gives you one last look. Maybe find yourself something to eat. Suddenly you recognize Seraphin's instinct to look after you. A flash of a relationship now lost to the reboot. Catch. Seraphin throws a handful of something towards you. You manage to grab the projectiles, and when you open your hand, you see a stack of cryo-chits. Those should get you some food. We'll need some more for fuel and supplies, he grimaces. That means odd jobs at the station, for both of us. Seraphin kicks off and glides down the docking bridge. Don't go too far, all right? He shouts as he leaves. Take it slow. And with that, he is gone, leaving the connecting bridge and heading into Hexport's docking concourse. You wait for a moment in silence. I'm going to make a plan. Try to think ahead for what might be coming. You'll need work, that's the first step, but what then? Lane will be coming eventually. The sooner you can put some distance between you and Hexport, the better. So that's the plan. Rest, resupply, and run. Shake the thoughts from your head and pull the jacket tight. Let's see what Hexport has to offer. Kick off and glide into the port. Welcome to Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector. This game runs in cycles, during which you can perform actions with your dice, use cryo to buy food, fuel, supplies, and items, progress clocks towards new scenes and events. Then we've got the guide. Use the mouse wheel to scroll, select with left click, right click to leave. Nothing at all down here. Something at all up here. Bet there's nothing to do here. Well, I could use the bunks to reduce stress, which I don't need to do right now. I can use supplies to regain energy, and I don't think I have supplies right now. Other locations will unlock as you play. Choose which resources they should focus on the left. Cycle clock will advance over time. I note these. I think right now it is cryo. Getting some cash is a good idea. So we have the Hexport docks and we have the Hexport exchange. Let's check the docks first. You perform actions with dice that are modified by your skill. They can be positive, negative, or neutral in outcome. Actions are safe, risky, or dangerous based on the outcomes it has. Rewards and consequences go up as the danger factor increases. You get some information from the crews, but I'm real bad at engaging people. I could explore the docks with my 6 if I want to check out the docks, but let me see what's going on at the exchange first. This might be the way to go. Because I'll bump that up to a 6, because I've got a plus there. Trade scrap. Identifying materials and cleaning up components. It's an engineer's job more than a trader's. Yeah, progress the clock. I went up to 2 slots out of 4. I think we're going to spend the other one here also. I could do it over here, but this is dangerous, and dangerous usually has better rewards than risky, so we went with that. I've discovered new locations, the Hexport Trade Hall and the Hexport Canteen. That's where I can buy stuff. That's where I can get food. I think this is my food meter, and I'm not starving right now, so I'm gonna hold off on getting food and hope that's not a foolish decision. Is everything gonna be at least risky at this point? Yeah, because there's nothing I can do there in either of these places that doesn't cost money. Do I want to spend these dice? I mean, the thing is, this one's risky, this one's dangerous. And the minus doesn't really matter, because a 1 and a 2 are equivalent, 3 and 4 are equivalent. 5 is pretty good, 6 is very good. 1 or 2, 50% neutral, 50% negative. And then 3 or 4 is 50% neutral, 25% negative, 25% positive, if I'm remembering right. 5 is like this, but 50% positive, 50% neutral. 6 is 100% positive. In the previous one, things might change. This is a sequel, but we're going to try this and maybe regret it. Hey, neutral outcome. Okay. Do I push my luck? I think the worst thing that's going to happen is I take some stress, and I can fix that stress with this die, I think. Got a new location. The Bends. Star and Stoker is a spacer gambling game paid with custom magnetic dice. Chits are stashed in symbol-marked cans, and winning is ruthlessly luck-based. I may regret this decision. Wow. Incredible luck so far. And the cycle of the ship. Rig to re-roll them. I could get a Ben's Fright. That's probably not going to be, how you say, filling more than 2 bars. Yeah, 2 energy. Perfect. So let's just take a look here. Yeah, that's a way to get some energy back. Or some stress reduced. That's a way to get some energy back if I have supplies. Okay. Don't want this to be odd job so we can get some cryo in the cycle. We're doing great. The dice are being fairly kind to us. We're in trouble, Sleeper. Seraphim leans into the bunks as you are getting up. Without further explanation, he disappears down the corridor towards the rear of the ship. You drift into the passage, pulling on your clothes, and glide down the length of the rig, cool air making you shiver. Seraphim is a silhouette silently leading the way. He stops at the far end, diverting through a side door, shooting you a glance as he does. Find Seraphim inside, holding one of a tangle of arm-thick tubes that are waving in zero-G engine room. You know what these are? No, tell me. These are the engine's feed lines. He waves one in the air. And before you ask, no, they aren't all supposed to be waggling loose. What happened? These must have broken loose when we pushed the ship hard on our way out of Darkside. He looks at the mess. We're lucky the reserve tank is empty, otherwise... He shakes his head. It would have been bad. But, he pushes the pipe to the side. No feed from the reserve tank means that the rig's range is limited to the local region only. He thumps the large lump in housing of the engine. This thing can't take us anywhere far. So we fix it? Seraphim sighs. That's the short of it. Seraphin whacks the engine housing again, harder this time. Just not been our run of luck. He turns and starts gathering the tangled feed lines, his frustration evident in the violence of his movements. We'll need a new set of these, that's for sure. He starts forcing them into a crate. So how about you try to track them down? I'll take a look at things here and see if I can figure out another fix for the reserve tank. He glances up from his work. From what I've heard on Hexport, Factory Row is the place to find ship fitters. Maybe you can do some recon while I sort this place out? It's on the other end of the station. Okay, I'll take a look. Seraphin keeps working. Wait. Seraphin pauses, seemingly unsure. There's something else. He drops the feed lines and they float, waving in the air like tubular seaweed. I've heard word that Lane's on the hunt. He frowns. A message went out everywhere in the local radius of Darkside. He's looking for us. And we can't leave. Exactly, Seraphin sighs. Which is why we need those feed lines. Maybe we can work something out. Maybe I can improvise a solution. I don't know. He looks down. I'm no ship fitter. But while I do, you go hunting. See what you can turn up, okay? He smiles a weak smile. Get going. You leave the engine room, the clanking sound of Seraphin's cleanup efforts echoing through the ship. Fuel feed lines. That's the next step. Take a deep breath and head out. A drive. That's a major objective. They come in major and minor that give different rewards. Do 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 do. New location discovered. Factory Row. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That would be a bad idea. Gotta try it. Nope, okay. Dice swap doesn't work. Okay. I figured since it was fixed in the previous one, but I had to try it. I can sell scrap, which I don't have. Data diffusal shift. Scrapyard shift. This looks like just a good place to make some money, which could be important. But for now, let's do another one of these. Yeah! Wow, we're getting really good dice luck. Factory Row howls as you glide through its cramped passages. Whatever its many bays and rooms once were, they now serve as containers for industry of every kind. Whirring manufactories. Precisely engineering components. Manufactories? Precisely engineered components with rapidly shifting arms, while scrappers hammer incessantly at bent ship plates. Everywhere you look, there is energy and activity, and for good reason. Hexport is built on the derelict fragments of a solar reflector, and even the small amount of energy generated by its remaining mirrors is enough to power a city of machines. It is familiar to you, of course, in a strange, far-off way, because of Darkside. That place and your memories of it are a muddy haze, but it is hard to forget the glint of its hexagonal reflectors. 10 or 20 times more in number than Hexport's, and that wild, flickering city growing on their back like a tumor. In comparison, Hexport feels provincial, but deep in Factory Row, you could almost be back in Darkside. And then you see them. Tubes, just like those Seraphin had waved in your face. Feed lines. You push over to the display window on the unit marked Karsten's Supply in block capitals cut from hull plate. There, amongst the angled shelf of oversized ship components, sit the feed lines, like some large biomechanical tangle of snakes. You slip inside, where the sound of Factory Row is a little screened, and spot a large figure working at a bench. Hunched over, concentrating, it seems he doesn't notice you enter. Hello? A sharp eye glints at the figure, looking over his shoulder. Can I help you? His accent is heavy. Oh, can I help you? His accent is heavy, but unknown to you. Nice place you have. You see little reaction from the profile of Karsten's face. He grunts. Something you need? Before you can respond, he tracks your eyes at the feed lines in the window. He looks back at you with a subtly changed expression. One you can't quite place. He turns with surprising grace and begins cleaning his hands on a cloth. Those sharp eyes scan you, but Karsten's thick-set features do not betray the result of his assessment. Custom built those, for a client that never collected. He looks at his hands while he speaks, checking for stray oil stains. You have one of the old MEVs, then. He sounds out the letters in a way you don't recognize as he speaks. You try to recall anything you know about your ship, but the memories elude you. Perhaps Seraphin should have come along. That's right. Karsten nods. Always good to see one of those still running. Look. Karsten drifts over to where you are standing, his imposing height evident. For a fellow enthusiast like you, he continues in a distinctive monotone. Let's say a few hundred cryo on clean chits. He shoots a glance at the feed lines. 400, let's say, to be precise. 400? 400, Karsten says back, repeating your question without the emphasis. It's expensive, I know. It's a shame, but it's just what they are worth. He screws up his mouth a little into something that might be a smile. However, I'm more of the bartering type myself anyway. I can get the cryo. Okay then, he nods. But in case you can't, there's a little favor I need a crew for, and, well, you look like you might be a good fit. He tucks the cloth away into a pocket and clasps his hands. I know of an old Solheim wreck out there. Very old. Pre-collapse. It's tucked away in a dead zone, so no one has ever really cut it. He shrugs. Not only that, but Solheim derelicts have a habit of triggering nasty security protocols when approached by an unfamiliar ship. So it's been, well, left well alone. But a salvager like you with an old Solheim rig, I bet it wouldn't even flinch if it saw you coming. He smiles. I have a special interest, a need for that old tech. All those Solheim ships had a data core. And while I don't care about the accounting reports or material ledgers or whatever they kept on the damn thing, I do care about the hardware. So, if I was to find you back here with that data core in your cargo hold, clean cut and complete, well then, I could see my way to doing a straight barter for those feed lines. Karsten pauses, sniffs at the air again. You just need the coordinates. Why do you want it? Special interest. You wait for more, but his flat expression tells you it isn't coming. So, you interested? He glances back at his workbench. Because I'm a busy man. I'll do it. All right then. He holds out a heavy hand for you to shake. But as you automatically reach out, he grabs your forearm instead. Karsten pulls you closer, squeezing your arm. Let's keep this one between us, all right? He half smiles, his face huge and close. It's our deal. Before you can respond, he thumbs a little drive into your palm. Those coordinates. And then he lets go of your arm with what you swear is a wink. Take a moment to gather yourself, and by the time you do, a whirring fills the air, Karsten having returned to his workbench. You turn and glide out of Karsten's supply with growing mix of anxiety and excitement in the pit of your stomach, as the cacophony of Factory Row in your ears. The contract. Seraphin might even be impressed. You look at the drive in your palm and smile. This could be a route out. Or a route out. You think of leaving this place behind in position of an improved ship, too. Suddenly, a small but firm hand falls on your back. An equally small voice coming up with it. Hey, hey, wait up! You turn in the passage to see a young woman, her hair waving from the rapid glide she clearly just came out of to catch you. She steadies herself using your shoulder. Sorry. She smiles a quick and flat smile. Wanted to catch you. I'm Junie. Her dark eyes flick around nervously. You notice the portable terminal she carries, something data scrapers call a deck, and her backpack full of components and trailing wires. What's up? Karsten, she starts, catching her breath. He sent me to grab you. She smiles that flat smile again. Wants me to come with you on that job. Her eyes shoot down towards the drive in the palm of your hand. He smiles again. Why didn't he tell me? She glances back towards Karsten. I guess he forgot? He does that sometimes. She looks sheepishly at you. Just grabbed me after you two were done talking, so... Karsten's always sending me out on things like this. I guess he wants me to help you out. Keep an eye on things. She pauses. I can be pretty helpful. So, she looks around the passage. Should I meet you at your ship, and can you tell me when you're ready to go? Very unsuspicious. Okay, great. Her eyes light up, and she notices she still has her hand on your shoulder and takes it off. Junie pushes off and waves. Looking forward to working with you, he calls back as an afterthought. What about the ship? Oh, I'll find it, she calls back, and then disappears down the passage. You watch her go, glad of the contract, but nervous too. Will Karsten keep up his side of the bargain if you deliver? I don't know about this, sleeper. Seraphin looks nervously out the rig's windows as you finish explaining Karsten's deal, as well as Junie's offer of help. If this job was easy, Karsten would have done it himself already. That means there's a catch. He frowns at the stars. And there's definitely something going on with this Junie girl. He shakes his head. She would be useful, though. No doubt, Seraphin shakes his head. And we desperately need help on a job like this. What if... Seraphin narrows his eyes. We could get the cryo together to buy the feed lines. Is that even possible? Found a contract board at the exchange further in station. Gestures towards Hexport. We want to take on a job? That might get us some of the way towards buying those feed lines. Plus, even if we do take Karsten's job, a bit of money to get ourselves prepared wouldn't be a bad idea. Fill up on fuel, supplies. Be ready for whatever comes. Take a look. Good. Seraphin nods. While you're at it, you might want to see if you can scare up some freelance crew, too. Seraphin shrugs. Many hands make light work and all that. Or we stop messing around, we take Karsten's shop right now, and we get it done before he can think twice. Seraphin yawns. Seems like a whole set of bad options to me. Either way, I've still got some work to do on the drive. Seraphin nods a farewell, heading back to the engine room. Let me know what you decide. For a moment you pause, letting the haze of plans and ideas settle in your mind. Suddenly you curl up, pain shooting along your spine. You grit your teeth, your muscles locked tight. Your vision narrows as you squeeze your eyes shut. You feel a shift, as if some connection is broken. It's almost impossible to describe, like you're floating away from your body, dispersing, dissolving. There is nothing familiar in the pain, nothing to hold on to. You grit your teeth. And then another shift comes, and you are back in your body, trembling against the metal wall of the passage. Pain slowly fades, becoming a pulsing throb, then a residual flicker. You flex in 0G, stretching out the tension. There's a strange sensation of distance that persists beyond the pain. A disconnection between your body and yourself, a flickering numbness that refuses to recede. You wonder if the reboot has done something to your body, or if this is some new sensation you will have to live with indefinitely. It strikes you that you know so little about the body that houses you. It could be moments away from collapse, or it might persevere for countless cycles like this. You try to shake off the feeling, pushing your hands against each other until they feel like they are yours again. Time is the only thing you need, and right now it feels like it's running out fast. You head for the airlock. You have work to do. Open the map to view the contract that's real far away. I would need 3 fuel for that thing. So I'm not doing that right now. 400 cryo or 1 Solheim data core. Contract board. One is just risky. We could try that. Wonder cryo, not bad. Yeah, let's do it. Oh. It's just one, right? That one's a 2 fuel jump. Just risky. I click it. Okay, it's saying you need fuel. Okay. How much does fuel cost? Oh, that's not bad. So right now I could get 2 fuel and 1 supplies. I think I want another bunch of supplies. So let's try one of these. Yep. Okay, lost an energy, got some cryo. Okay. So that takes up energy. Gotcha. Yeah. Oof. And it just fries itself in the core. Okay. Buy a Ben's fry. That energy back up to a safer spot. Know what? That's 2 fuel. 2 supply. That's not bad. I might be able to get some more crew if I do this next cycle. I don't know if jobs expire. I'm not seeing a countdown. Hope they don't. What happens if I click this? You know what? Let's see what happens. You're not available. You have to go with... I want to see if I can get some more crew, actually. Okay. In that case, we end the day. The cycle. Get us supplies, that'd be pretty great, actually. Yeah. Oh, before I forget, just in case I zone out and do that without thinking. Some pretty awful dice. Okay. Oh, cryo, not bad. I can go get a food if this doesn't go well. Ooh, we're fortunate. Wow. This luck is not gonna hold up. Holy guacamole. Do I dare? Best it could be is neutral. No. I wanted to check here. I did need the money, but I'm gonna take some energy. I mean, negative outcome, we still got progress, so pretty good day. Pretty dang good day. I was not expecting 2 positives off of 2 2s, but sometimes it works out that way. I think that's just a random amount of cryo. Let's see how much we get. I don't know. 4. Okay. More than we had. Let's see if I can find someone who wants to work a job. -2? Yeah. Okay. The warehouses. Great loading. I'm real bad at enduring, so probably not. Oh, I could have done that instead. That's fine. As you're gliding along the docking concourse, you hear a scuffle. The noise of raised voices cuts through the conversation drifting out of the dockside shops. Glancing down an alley, you see a huddle of figures shouting back and forth. You spot one man in the middle of the group, surrounded, pushing the others back as they grab at the bags slung over his shoulder. You don't like the way this looks. But then again, Seraphin told you to keep your head down. I'll be a distraction. Check past. Look around for something that could break up the fight and see thick cooling pipes running down the alley wall. Quickly try to understand the system and choose a valve to start spinning. As you do, the system begins to vent in sequence down the alley, violent jets randomly bursting into the air. There's a scramble in the alley, and you spot the figure who is being attacked drop down to the alley floor. Then your vision instantly fills with pale liquid as a jet of coolant jumps out nearby, missing you but sending you spinning in 0G. After a few moments, you manage to steady yourself. As you do, you see a clear alley, the assailants having fled, with one figure gliding towards you. I suppose you think that was clever. The man gives you a severe look. You like to break up fights you didn't start? He laughs. Belt's gonna eat you up. Femi. Hey, Femi. He shifts the large bags on his shoulder, weightless but unwieldy in 0G. I was helping. The man laughs. Well, shakes his head. Thanks, I guess. Kicks off and drifts past you. You watch the man go, and then, after a moment, he stops and turns back. He rubs his forehead, looking down as he does. What is your deal, anyway? Sighs. Maybe you're new here, but Hexport is no place for do-gooders. I know what it's like. To get beat up? The man shakes his head. Hexport's got real rough. Look, let's not hang around, all right? The man pats his chest. I'm Femi. He unshoulders one of the bags and pushes it towards you. Make yourself useful. Let's head. You get the strap of the bags over your shoulder and follow him through the docks, gliding past the concourse towards the connecting bridges. He cuts down a side passage, looking back to check you are following. Then he stops at a docking bridge connecting to a dull green ship with yellow markings. Look out the viewing window at its odd catamaran-like shape, seemingly built from two separate hulls welded together. Symbol crash, he says, and you assume that's the ship's name. Femi, you bring in strays? A young woman, brightly dressed and stretching as she glides, drifts into the passage. She glances at you. No offense. Nia. Femi shakes his head. This one, he squeezes your shoulder, helped me fend off some Hexport scum while you were busy sunning yourself. Nia raises an eyebrow. I'm sure you could handle them, big brother. Her glib response hides the flash of concern that passes across her face. Can't tell if Femi noticed. Nia turns to you. Thanks, she smiles sweetly. And I am sorry for my brother. She shoots him a glance. Just in general. Nia, Femi murmurs. Enough now. He reaches over and takes the bag you were carrying. Nia rolls her eyes at you, but stays silent. Factory Row wouldn't take these. Femi hefts the bags. I'm gonna load them back up. Maybe we can find a use for them. He turns back to you. Thanks for the assist, Sleeper, he nods firmly. Not what I expected. He slaps the button for the bridge door and kicks off the docking bridge on his way to the symbol crash. Nia looks at you with raised eyebrows. I hope my brother was joking? Or did you really help him? I tried. Thank you. He looks back at the ship. My brother needs help more than he admits. What do you mean? tenses. I don't know if... She smiles a tight smile. I shouldn't have said anything. She pauses, thinking. I want to ask you something. She takes a deep breath, then gives you a direct look. What is she building up to? Are you looking for crew? She looks away. Sorry to be direct, but you seem like, well, if you are on Hexport, maybe you're with a crew. Stops herself. I mean, maybe your crew needs crew? Maybe you're looking? I am. She struggles to hide her smile. Nia looks back at the ship, then at you. Look, I'll be honest. Being on a crew with my brother is nice, but he is suffocating me. She frowns at her own bluntness. Just gotta say, these kicks, incredible. Not a kid anymore, you know? But he still sees me like one. She shrugs. I want to show him I can handle myself. I need experience. I need to run some contracts. Gives you a determined look. What do you say? I'll think about it. I'm a good salvager, all right. You can use me. She smiles. I can spot things, find gaps, ways in. She folds her arms across her chest. I know what I'm doing. Demi taught me well. She glances back at the ship. Just consider it, all right? Let me prove myself. Suddenly a shout comes from the ship, echoing down the passageway. Bemi. He makes both of you nervous. Nia looks in his direction. I should go. She pushes off towards the docking bridge. I'll be waiting. Nia gives you one last glance as she departs, then leaves you in the docking bridge, leaving you alone in the passage. To drive. Dracly, I see that city escape. I do not have my system set up for that. In the future, I will try and remember to do that, but it would take me a hot minute to set up the scene. So I will refund those points to you and say, in the future, it'll happen. For now, it's ad time, so I'm going to go take a little break. And we'll be back with more of the Citizen Sleep. Wahoo! You good, Obi? Okay, there it goes. Oh, yeah. We're back. It's time for more of the Citizen Sleeper game. So we just got a new crew member. And we just got a new drive point. On the left, we can upgrade our skills. And on the right, we can upgrade our push, the unique ability for our class. We can only configure which upgrade is active at a hub. I'm guessing this is the quest. Means we can't buy any of these. Yeah, okay. Can never improve engage. And those are just straight skill increases, which would be a good thing, but... cannot afford anything at the moment. Let me actually check. -1 stress on focus die, positive outcome, +1 to affected dice. I guess this is an extra minus stress. Is how I'm interpreting that. So it would be a total of -2 stress on that. Interesting. Okay. I'll deal with that more later on. Check the rig. We've got good supplies, enough fuel to get there. Should we try it? I don't know if I'm throwing away a 6 by doing this or not. Alright, Nia, time to prove yourself. Don't make me regret it. That way. It's a drone. Yeah, I did throw it away. Okay, good to know. Seraphin spots the signal source first, light barely shimmering off its dark hull plating. Design trait that betrays its covert use. A flash catches your attention, and you see a rent in the hull through which red lights pulse. Wounded. Seraphin shakes his head. Wish they'd finished the job. Seen one before? Seraphin looks back over his shoulder towards you. We've seen one before, don't you? Dies. Sorry. I know it isn't your fault. He looks out at the drone. Lane had us work on one in a Darkside Bay, though it was barely a shell, armed and deactivated. He had us searching through its guts for salvage. Even that one gave me the creeps, and it had its core ripped out. Pushes the ship closer. This one is still live. Conway. Nia kisses her teeth. Corporate scum. Glance over at her and see the fire in her bright eyes. They don't even dare to come here and force us out themselves. It's all proxies and drones. She shakes her head. Typical core-bred cowards. Run into them before? She glances at you. You might say that. She looks out at the drone. You won't see me taking my eyes off that thing for a second. Seraphin carefully guides the ship closer. You watch the drone. The system is full of these things now, running missions for their operators. Rare to see one out in the belt, though. Maybe got hit during a run-in with Senate Stat Mercs. It looks like it's drifting. Most of the system's blown out. But look, here. He jabs a finger towards a red light on the far side of the drone. Still broadcasting. Maybe even receiving. Can it attack us? Unlikely, Seraphin smiles. Would have blasted us already if it could. Comforting. Nia looks nervous. Seraphin brings you ever closer. What I remember from the Darkside job is that the central core and the broadcast array need to be shut off to kill these things. The core will turn off local systems, and the broadcast array will sever the link with the Conway operators. Seraphin swallows. But you can bet those systems are protected. Let Seraphin explain. Your attention is suddenly drawn by a shudder from the drone, like a tremor running along its length. The thing is rigged to blow Sleeper. Frowns. We go slow and careful, and we don't touch anything we don't know about. He turns back to Nia. You hear that? I got you. He looks sincere. Seraphin brings the rig to a stop, close enough for you to cross the open space to reach the drone's hull. Let's suit up. You head down to the airlock to prepare. As you get suited up, think of the corporate war taking place in the inner system. The war that this drone was driven from. Out here, on the shore of the conflict, the biggest danger is that this flotsam and jetsam, drifting in with the tides and orbits of the system, might, one cycle, bring war with it. For now, the belt is outside of its reach. But looking out at that red, pulsing drone, it doesn't give you much comfort. Welcome to my first Oh, crew's got some great dice today. While on a contract, you will be assigned 2 dice for each crew member, as you would assign your own dice. Pay attention to the crew's skills and use them effectively. Crew can take crew stress while their stress is full. You will no longer be able to use them to perform actions. Supplies are drained per cycle. If we fill up the contract stress, then the bar that the contract will fail. We don't want that. Look at the hull damage. Okay. Then over here, something I'm good at. That's nice. Oh, they're both real bad at this stuff. Okay. Let's start by focusing here. Let's give that 6. Can't stop us, sleeper. Smashed it. No, don't smash it. Okay, let me show you. Okay, let me show you. These dice. A little dangerous, a little risky. Okay. Risk increases, you'll have a higher chance of taking damage to your action dice each time you roll them. Can I relieve stress in here? Yes, I might be spending some dice on that then. The same as the 3. It's a danger. Let's try it. I used up all my good luck earlier. Okay, we'll take a neutral. Yeah. Okay. Cannot recover stress on a contract. That's right. Of course. Okay. Okay. Bad news bears. It's fine. Okay, got some damage dice. White markers above the stress tell you which one will be numbered, which rolls. Okay. So, again, some pretty bad rolls. They got some bad rolls this time as well. But I can spend this 6 here and guarantee it. You hear the bleeping immediately. Among the chambers and cabling of the drone's interior, something has started counting down. Guys? Nia's voice comes hissing through the suit's comm channel. Does anyone else hear that? Because I'm getting nervous. Shit. Serafin's voice joins her. This is what I was worried about. Are we screwed? I can't be sure. Serafin has dropped his voice to a whisper, as if that makes a difference. Either this thing is about to send out a distress call, or it's about to blow. We've got to shut this system down fast. Pauses. Then we move to the other side, because I bet you there's a surprise waiting for us there, too. We good? Nia sounds tense. Am I heading back to the ship, or what? Serafin cuts in. We're good. We keep going. He shuts off the channel. Take a moment in the silence. Alright, time to deal with this fast. And then get over to the other side before something happens. Let me try it. Yes! Love to see it. Woo! Alright, let's see. This one is the dangerous one, so I do want to spend the 6, and even though it's a little bit of a waste. Okay, good. Good. Come on. Right, you've got plenty of stress. Yeah, I'm sure about this. Doesn't mean it's gonna go well. Oh, heck yeah. Nia, try it. Try it. It does look messy, but try it. Okay. We end the cycle. We need dice back. Need dice back. Yep. That's a 5. That'll do. Don't like that stress, but... Fours, 3s, 4s. You know what? You've got the most stress to burn. Okay. I'm not gonna have you spend that because that's a fail. Good. Can you do it, Nia? The thrumming, pulsing interior of the drone goes still for the first time since you boarded it. You look across at Seraphin and Nia and share a smile. You all exhale so loudly they can be heard on the suit's shared comm channel. The drone is dead. One less piece of Conway shit to worry about, Nia grins. We killed it. Don't get too excited, Seraphin cuts in. It was looking pretty rough when we got here. Make your way back out to the hall. The drone now faintly rolling in one direction, its stabilizers offline. Nia catches up with you as you glide past towards the rig. We make a pretty good crew, Sleeper. We do. I'm not gonna ask about what her brother would think. That's none of his business. Nia grins widely. She punches you on the arm playfully. You reach the rig's airlock and take one last look at the drone's dark hull. It catches the light as it rolls in the vacuum. At some point in the near future, this drone will likely be smashed to pieces by one of the many asteroids on the belt, spread across the place as twinkling dust. The thought pleases you, as does the thought that of all that cryo Hexport now owes you. Time to go collect. Time to leave via map. After docking at Hexport, Seraphin lets go of the controls and leans back in his chair. Nia leans over towards you. Thank you, Sleeper, she stretches. I know you took a chainsaw on me. Glad to have you. Nia smiles an infectious smile. Feels good to make contract work, Miles, no matter how we pull it off. It's hard not to agree. And it feels better when the Hexport courier comes with a lockbox full of chits. Lane may still be hunting you, but this should help the effort to slip his net. Suddenly you hear a familiar voice. Nia! Demi glides into view, approaching from the docks. He fixes you with a stare. What are you playing at, Sleeper? Nia wanted to come. You go to speak, but Nia drifts forward, cutting you off. Don't come throwing your weight around, Femi. I can make my own decisions. He glances back at you. Sleeper took me at my word, and I'm grateful. Femi is fuming. Did they now? He turns to you. Well, if you're working for Sleeper, I hope they paid you well. Nia looks away. Well, I asked, so... Femi smiles. Oh, so they aren't paying you? Seraphin crosses his arms. Let's keep this civil. He realizes this is his first time meeting Femi. If we are being civil, seems like Nia is owed her share. Femi fixes you with a severe look. I assumed that? You get paid when you do a job? You grab around a quarter of the chits from the lockbox and hold them out to Nia. She takes them sheepishly. All right then, Femi smiles. We're good here. He turns to leave. Nia mouths a sorry and follows Femi across the docks. Seraphin watches them go. You sure know how to pick 'em, Sleeper. He shakes his head. He turns away and heads back along the docking bridge. I just hope we aren't going to end up a stack of cryo short when we need to get out of here. You pay people to do a job. That's what you do. I probably could have done that, and I just forgot about it. think so. Yeah, but that's 3, 2, 3. 8. Oh, I would need to pay to unlock that. Gotcha. Okay. And I can't repair dice here. I can only reduce stress. Okay. I need fuel. Like Doc Brown, I need fuel. Is there anywhere else that has an ongoing clock? Other than that one? Contracts, that'd be pretty quick, I suppose. Don't need to eat at the canteen. Might need to fuel up here. Bad at that, and it doesn't have a clock, and that's just food. Okay. So I can get a little bit more cash. Contract to be pushed to edge in a tricky situation. Well, I'm not on a contract. I appreciate the tutorialization, I really do, but I'm not on a contract, so. I need refuel. Fill the supplies. I failed to recover. Been there. Great. Okay. Do it. Let's just do it. We're running a little short on time on the clock here. Like, we're not bad. We're probably fine, but best not to tempt it. All right, Junie. The Solheim derelict fills the cockpit. Let's try that from the top. The Solheim derelict fills the cockpit windows, all twisted plates and skeletal strut work. You watch it in horror and fascination as Seraphim completed the approach, both of you silent in the presence of this decaying beast. Now, as you settle beside it, Seraphim is the first to break the silence. This thing is already dead. He shakes his head. It's a corpse, Sleeper. He nudges the ship closer, looking for a place to dock. Touch this thing too hard, it'll crumble to dust. Let's not do that. Seraphim does a little mock salute. Aye, aye, he rolls his eyes. Any other tips? Take us up there. That's the bridge. Junie points towards one end of the ship. Both you and Seraphim turn around, having forgotten she was in the cockpit. He hasn't said a word since you departed. She glances at both of your bemused faces. What? She looks away. Sorry, that's where we need to go. She stops pointing. Seraphim nods towards Junie. She's not wrong, Sleeper. Bridge would be a good start. To the bridge, then. Seraphim nods and brings the ship under control. Do it. Seraphim takes control of the ship, avoiding the debris fields closer to the center of the wreck. Settles in position near a protrusion at the far end. This is as far as I'll go. Seraphim taps at the anchoring controls. We should be able to anchor the ship to those plates. You hear Junie begin to protest from behind you, but it is too late. Seraphim fires two... I always mispronounce this word. Piton? Tipped anchor lines at the nearest solid hull plates. The pitons slam into the plate and, despite their solid appearance, they instantly shatter. Fragments spin out across the wreck, slicing into other plates and building a spiraling storm of debris. Shit! Seraphim nudges the ship back and steadies it as the debris cascades across the surface of the wreck. The damage seems mostly superficial, but it underlines just how fragile the derelict is. Let's not do that again. Junie glances between the two of you. The data core will be very fragile. We've got it. Seraphin snaps. He angrily unclips from his seat. Last thing I need is a backseat driver. He kicks off and glides past her into the corridor. Sorry, Junie. No problem. He smiles a weak smile. We all want the same thing here, right? We'll work it out. Calls Seraphin down the passage, and Junie close behind. As you reach the airlock, he is already angrily suiting up, his frustration evident. Keep your cool. Seraphin looks up. Yeah. Glances at Junie. No hard feelings, right? He checks the seals on his shoulder. But this is a job, not a social event. The rest of the preparation process takes place in tense silence, each of you considering the delicate job ahead. You suit up too. Though you don't need one to breathe, a helmet that is, you slide one on and lock the seals for protection. This wreck isn't going to give up its salvage easily. The core should be near the bridge, maybe even inside it, but there's a lot of wreck here, and there might be good salvage tucked away in the cargo hold. Once the suits are on and the seals are checked, you cycle the lock and stare out at the vast expanse of the twisted hulk before you. Time to go to work. Alright, what are we working with? I'm the only one who's good at this. Seraphin can handle that if we... That's some pretty good dice. That's a nice welcome change. Also clear the cargo doors. Seraphin. We're about to be in trouble. It's fine. It's fine. Junie doesn't have anything she can do right now, really. It's fine. Go ahead and spend that. Hold on to that one just in case something pops up and I could use a 6 elsewhere. I don't think I will, but popping up. Only risky. So I might take a stress or a hit on that, but let's try it. Yeah. The bridge of the derelict lies silent, the pale beams of your suit lamps catching rows of terminals and clouds of glittering dust. Wires wave like seaweed, and the whole scene appears as if underwater. Chaotic, but still. Junie glides past you, disturbing the dust and taking you by surprise as she does. She has been a stoic presence so far, but in this moment she seems drawn forward by some force of curiosity. You watch as she bats away debris and begins checking terminals. What are you doing? Junie doesn't seem to hear you, or at least is ignoring you. She is already prying an access panel off one of the more intact-looking terminals. And as she does, puffs of rust color the vacuum around her red. Hey, Junie. She turns back to the terminal and finishes prying off the plate. Then quickly she reaches inside, fishing around for something. Her hand comes back out with a waving cable topped with a thick connector. As soon as she sees it, she slips a keyboard-sized deck out from somewhere on her person. She runs her hand across the back until she finds the right port and slots in the connector. All this happens in a few seconds. The routine, practiced, and precise. It's hard not to be impressed. Not your first Solheim ship? She glances at you, a nervous look on her face. Does she think you're accusing her or something? She shakes her head and goes back to work. Junie's fingers dance across the deck's keyboard, and a burst of static lights up the Solheim terminal screen. The sudden burst of light and color takes you by surprise. Junie's fingers tap away, the terminal screen flashing with blocks of color and lines of code. It buzzes and vibrates, its long-dead systems forced back into chaotic life. Then, all at once, it goes dark. The terminal is dead. Shit! Junie hisses beneath her breath. Useless. Cannot tell if the insult is directed at the terminal or herself. Find anything? She looks up from you as if she was just waking from a dream. No. She pauses. Nothing useful. He protectively slides her deck away. The cradle with the data core can't be far. She pushes off from the terminal, gliding away from you. I'll start looking, she calls back, and heads towards the other side of the bridge. Seraphin glides up beside you. Everything all right? What do you think of Junie? Kid? Seraphin shrugs. You know better than me. Keeps to herself. He squints at her retreating form. Seraphin stretches in his suit. I have to admit, it's nice to be back working, especially now that we are the ones who will reap the benefits. Claps you on the shoulder. Feels good to be taking one's fate into our own hands. Our fate into our own hands. I know it's pretty rough out there, back on Hexport. And out here, we're just as likely to get shredded by debris as we are to find the damn data core, but aren't you glad to make a break for it? Pauses and looks down, having asked this question almost by accident. I mean, I am. I just don't want to speak for you. At this point, honestly, I don't know. It's a lot. Sure, he looks away. I know that. Look. Seraphin checks his suit's wrist seals. Once we got a bit of space behind us. Once we've gone the distance. If we even manage to get that far. He furrows his brow. Don't feel like you owe me. I'm no charity case. You want us to go our separate ways? Fine by me. He meets your eyes. Do me the favor of telling me to my face. If that happens, I will. Seraphin nods but doesn't respond. After a moment, he shines his torch out into the dark, checking the rows of terminals all across the bridge. Watch the glittering dust as it eddies in the beam. Seraphin sighs. Let's get to it. You watch as he crosses the bridge, his torch probing the dark corners. You feel a chill run through your body as you imagine the people that once ran the ship. The Solheim crew, surely long dead. What was it like here before the collapse, when this system was the jewel in Solheim's crown? It's impossible to know. That history is lost to you now. All you can do is pick what you can from the ruins. What's something Junie is good at? Okay, neutral is okay. So risky. Okay, that tracks. This might be what is known as a mistake. Ah, the best kind of mistake. One that benefits me. We're not going to use that too. We are not going to use that too. Junie's dice suck. Seraphin's got a 5, which is good. I've got some really good ones. Seraphin, spin that one there. We might get that to light up. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That is how we do it. Should be. Yeah. Oh. It says +2, but you only got 1. That's my push. Okay. +3 to lowest dice, -1 stress on positive outcome. If there's a tie, does it bump up 2 of them? The thing. But that would make that a 5, which is tempting. But let me see here. Not using that here. Not using that here. You know what? I wanna see what's going on with this scrap. Spin these. Deep bays. It's only a 2. Yeah. We cannot get a good die there. I mean, I could get a 3 technically if I push and use that, but nah. We've got a good chunk of supplies. I don't want to get up to that level if I can help it. Junie's got some great dice today. Love to see that. And you have a 4. Oh, we've got a crisis. Six of them? Need 6 of them? Yeah. Try it. Okay. I don't think I can get 6 this turn realistically, so I think we're just gonna get another stress on that next turn. We're gonna work on this. And both of them here. Cracked it. Okay. Don't really want for me to get a stress. It would be bad if I got a stress. If I push, that would make that a 5, and I would have a... No, it would end up being a net 3. Okay, nope, 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 nope. We're gonna take a stress. Crisis stress. I think there's a technical term I'm forgetting. And... Okay. Okay. Try it. Oof. Paraffin bud. Okay. I hate to waste these dice on it, but... Shoot. Dang. Cuss. Yeah? Let's try it. That's bad. That's a bad thing that that was not positive. On a number of levels, that's bad. We're not gonna get another crisis next go. Risky. I'm not going to tempt fate right now. I've done enough of that. Oh, broken die. Workshop, okay. Well, that's the only other one that's at risk of breaking, at least. Let's take a look. You know what? We have quite a ways to go before we hit that X. That, right? Oh, that's just getting raw scrap. Okay, I thought there was a clock there and there's not. Okay, this is more important to me then. But Seraphim is not really going to be spending dice down there, so let's do this here. Okay. Gotta go fast. Oh, we only have one supply left. Oh, we only have one supply left. Okay. Okay, that brings things into a new focus. Watch nervously as Junie guides. Oh, I got a Xbox achievement. I extracted the core from the Solheim derelict cleanly. Watch nervously as Junie guides the core out of the cradle. A large ball, almost half your height in diameter, glides out of the framework that held it, connections waving loose and cut. Her breathing comes through the suit's comms, loud enough to be picked up, and it fills you with tense energy to watch. There are a lot of hot people in space. There's less atmosphere to break up some of the, the heat, so it just hits them directly. Over the course of this job, you have seen Junie both focused and distracted, nervous and precise, but you have not seen her any more confident than in this moment now. She floats beside the data core, handling it with care and skill, as if it was the vast egg of some endangered bird. She glances up and sees you watching her, and you notice something unfamiliar in her eyes. Something that you have perhaps seen in a passing moment before, only now it is no momentary lapse or change. It is set in place. She's filled with determination. She guides the core a little away from you with one hand, and at the same time comes forward, almost placing herself between you and her prize. And it does seem to be hers in the way she handles it, in the possessive way she screens it with her body. We need to talk. Statement comes flat and deadpan, any nervous tremble gone. Right now. What are you doing? Sleeper. He takes a deep breath. I want to be honest with you, but I need to know you won't take this from me. Junie glances around the cradle defensively, but Seraphim is already heading back to the ship to prepare the cargo bay for the core's storage. You two are alone. Tell me and we'll see. Fine. Holds her arms, but it's staying with me. Karsten doesn't deserve this. This treasure, Sleeper. Junie glances over her shoulder at the core. You know how many of these are left intact? She shakes her head. All he wants to do is wipe it clean so that he can interface with Hexport. All that data. Gone. So what do you want? I want to extract the data. Make use of it. You see some genuine emotion flicker in her eyes. She sighs. After extracting the data, the core will be unusable. There's a security system that will fry if data duplication is attempted. I can delay the security response long enough to copy the data, but after that, she trails off. I've done this before. She looks down. Yes. She meets your eye. This is why I came. Look at this place, Sleeper. She gestures to the cradle room, a dark and twisted cavern of long-dead tech. How many of these places are left? How many chances do we have to recover anything this old, this fragile? Like it or not, we live in Solheim's shadow and their ruins. Yet we know almost nothing. What chance do we have of understanding how we got here when others like them, like Senetstat and Conway, are descending on the system? What can we learn from the core? I don't know, Sleeper. That is the point. She gestures around herself. We could learn our history and how this system was settled. We could better learn the technology we build our lives on. We could uncover Solheim's crimes and seek to make amends. She looks at you with pleading eyes. We could see beyond survival, towards something else. You've never heard Junie speak like this, and you realize what you have taken for nervousness was actually control. This person in front of you defending a decaying data core with their life is the real Junie. But then you think of Lane. Of the price he will likely put on you and Seraphine's heads, and of the feed lines, without which leaving Hexport will be almost impossible. Is this even a choice? So here's the thing about the feed lines. Junie listens carefully as you tell her about the deal with Karsten, the feed lines he offered you, and that both you and Seraphine are on the run. Then I'll help you. Junie doesn't flinch. Find another way to get those feed lines. Karsten is an idiot. I can hack his security and you can pull them out of there. Or Seraphine looks tough. Maybe you can grab them? She looks desperate. We can do it. We can do something. Why should I trust you? Junie sighs. Let me be honest with you. I don't work for Karsten. He didn't send me. I might have misled you there. I knew he knew where the derelict was, and I heard your conversation. I've been keeping an eye on him. She pauses. I know I lied, but I can help you. Let me strip the data from the core, and I promise to help you get the feed lines. She meets your eyes with intensity. It's a lot of information to take in at once. You need a second to think. Let's do it. Thank you. Junie looks genuinely moved. Little tongue twister there for you at home. This is a gift to all of us, Sleeper. I hope you will see it like that. Junie turns to the data core, quickly gathering out one of its loose connections. She takes out her deck and plugs it in, then crosses her legs and places it across them, floating tethered beside the core. Her fingers begin tapping at the keyboard, teasing out the core's data and whatever Solheim secrets it might contain. As she does, Seraphine enters. He braces himself in the entranceway. What's she doing? Junie doesn't seem to notice. Let's break the news. Destroying the core. She's doing what? Seraphine jumps to attention, but you put a hand on his shoulder. He eyes you suspiciously. I hope you know what you are doing, Sleeper. He nods towards the core. That's our ticket out of here. Junie will help us. You say so. We both turn to watch Junie stripping the core of its secrets. A little while later, once the core has been emptied out and its defense mechanism has scorched its seams black, you watch the metallic sphere spinning gently in the room and wonder if you have just made a terrible mistake. Contract failed successfully. I could stay one more day and try and get some more scrap. Or I can head back. I think I'm gonna head back. Yeah. I don't want more stress and I don't want to break more dice. As you arrive into Hexport, Junie speaks up from the back of the cockpit. We are going to have to act fast if you want to take those feed lines. You and Seraphim exchange glances. You're both still getting used to this new Junie. We? Seraphim raises an eyebrow. Only one of us fried the core and stole all its data. He shoots you a look. And for some reason, we let you. It was the right call. Was it? Seraphim laughs. Well, I'm reassured. I don't think Karsten is going to take kindly to the idea that we brought someone pretending to work for him on the job and let her have his prize. He shoots Junie a look. Do we even know what she's up to? Junie looks between the two of you. Export hasn't exactly been kind to me. You two trusted me even though I didn't deserve it. I'm not used to that. I want to repay it. Not to mention that Carson is probably ripping you off. Even if you get enough cryo, what's to say you won't raise the price? Trust me, he's no good. I was trying to deal with Karsten to get those derelict coordinates from the moment I arrived here, and he ran me in circles. She shakes her head. Seraphim is watching her closely. Even if I do take you at your word, which given everything seems a little tough, how do we even do this? He raises an eyebrow. You're telling me we just drift in there and take the feed lines? Look, I get it. You don't trust me. She pauses. But what if I have a vested interest in this working out? There's nothing left for me here. I don't much feel like hanging around waiting for Karsten to figure out my involvement in all this. I need safe passage. You need the feed lines to grant it. She allows herself a smile. See where I'm going with this? Seraphim sighs. I don't like it. He pauses. But it makes sense. What do you think, Sleeper? We all get something. Exactly, Junie smiles. Let me prepare. I'll head to Factory Row, scope the place out. Meet me there and we can work out a plan. She glances between the two of you. Trust me, we can find a way. Keep it simple, clean. It's the way that you're making me feel tonight. Simple is good. Agreed, Seraphim cuts in. His dark look betrays his concerns. I'll go scope out the bay we need in Factory Row. We should split up. Less likely for Karsten to suspect us. Meet me there in a few and we can finish setting up. Junie unclips from her seat, gloating. I want to show you that I can be trusted. That we can do this. She looks between the two of you. Believe that, please. And with that, she slips away down the passage, towards the airlock in Hexport beyond. Look at Seraphim. I'm saying nothing, Sleeper. He unclips from his seat, too. Either this is the kind of mess you have to go through to get out the other side, or it's the kind you never escape. Either way, we are in it now. He leaves the cockpit. You stare at the chaotic lights of Hexport and wonder if anything in the Starward Belt ever runs smooth. I gotta believe! Simple and clean! Wait. This is a bad idea. Let me sell some scrap. Eh. $32 cryo. Not really worth it in the long run, but hey, I'll take it. I don't have the workshop unlocked, so I can't do the repairs on the dice, unfortunately. We gotta move fast. We're running out of clock room there. Good. Bad. Oh, it's only losing energy? That's fine. That's fine. Hey, okay. That we need the... Okay, we need this. We need the Sketty. We don't have the Sketty and we need the Sketty. Oh. Hey, Karsten. Hey, bud. How's it going? This will guarantee it for a positive, so let's do that. The sound of fist on keyboard wakes you from the scrolling code of the terminal screen. Turn to see Junie, a rare half smile on her face as she floats cross-legged with her deck in her lap. The blue light on the snap-on screen makes her eyes glint with a glittering excitement. Got him! Shoots you a look. Karsten's whole system is mine. You push away from your terminal to glide over to her screen. Running the mapping protocol now. I want to know every little dusty corner of his network. Is there much to map? She squints at the screen. Weirdly, there is. Coming up now. Seems Karsten is pretty paranoid. His whole system is iced over with some serious security. He frowns. What are all these layers of... A red pulse flashes across her face, changing her features as it does. Shit, shit, shit! Her fingers dance across the keyboard. Something is closing the port. We need... Another red flash and her screen goes blank. Junie's fist hits the keyboard again, harder. You've been kicked out! She is rapidly shaking her head. There's no way a salvager shop should have that kind of countermeasure. She looks troubled. That's it? We're locked out? She looks over at you. Seems so. I think our friend Karsten is involved in some nasty stuff. She rubs her forehead in thought. Now wait. Her fingers fly across the keyboard, her screen flickering with commands. A complex node graph assembles on the screen, a mess of interlocking connections. The mapping protocol did enough. Points at the screen. All the security systems are there. She indicates a dark section of broken connections. We didn't get what's here, but it seems like we found some kind of archive. Nothing we want. So what now? Junie pulls a thumbnail drive out of one of her many pockets and slots it into her deck. Time to train my cat. I'll identify the program, no problem. No problem. You lean in closer to try to follow the spooling code as it spills across the screen, but you find yourself lost in its patterns. Junie puts a hand on your shoulder and pushes you back from the screen, giving you a skeptical look. Some space here? It's a Katzenjammer. CAT for short. Basically, it takes a network map, finds the weaknesses, and when you hook it up, blasts the network with so much network noise and raw data that it becomes unusable. She smiles to herself. Any tech connected gets a killer headache. I built it to take the remnants of the Solheim security systems out of commission on old derelicts. He squints. I had one too many close calls. What will it do to the Karsten shop? Pretty much fry anything on our map. Cameras, shutter controls, alarms. It'll be pure chaos. She plucks the thumbnail drive out of her deck and hands it over. The cat head sticker on it catching the light as you turn it in your fingers. We've still lost access, of course. Junie turns back to her screen, bringing up another node map. But there's an old Solheim port from the original factory just outside Karsten's. Slot the cat in there and we should be able to find a back door. What are we waiting for? Nothing, but... She looks away. This isn't going to be quiet, he squints. His whole system is about to get data blasted. It's not a subtle hack. When you slot the cat, you gotta get in, grab the feed lines, and run. Sounds like one hell of a risk. Serafin's voice catches you both by surprise as he slips into the dark and empty unit. Well, Junie pauses, looking between the two of you. It's our best option. Serafin narrows his eyes. And where will you be while we run the gauntlet of scrambled security and make the grab? Junie looks away. I can monitor how it goes down remotely, from here or the ship. Serafin gives you a look. You can tell he is finding it hard to trust Junie after everything. I trust you, Junie. She smiles a thin smile. Thanks. She starts to pack up her deck, but I'll find somewhere else for it to work from. Close to the ship, but out of your way. Junie shoulders her bag and glides to the door. When you're ready, slot the cat and go. By the time you're back on the ship, I'll be there. Glances down. Don't leave without me. She shoots Serafin another look and then slips out the unit. Serafin watches her go, then turns to you. Olaf Hexport is going to hear about this. He shakes his head. We better be ready to go the moment you slot that thing. I'll be ready. Seraphin nods silently. I'll be at the ship repairing the engine. We need to be ready to fit the lines as fast as we possibly can. He meets your eye. Careful. Don't suffer anyone or anything. Puts a hand on your shoulder. And don't even think about looking back. With that, he slips out of the unit, leaving you alone to consider what comes next. There's an ad break coming up. I'm gonna run those ads and then we'll wrap up after we do this and see what happens. I'm making it musical for no reason. Zabba-da-da-ba-ba-da. Be back in 3. I don't know why OBS is struggling with this, but... Oh, there we go. Welcome back. Oh, we're gonna wrap up by doing a little chaos. And reap the consequences of our actions and our foolishness. Oh, there's a different noise when you do something big. Good. Carson's place is locked up for the cycle. Shutter down, alarms on, the denizens of Factory Row snaking past with deliveries and work orders. Hold your position opposite the shop and take a deep breath, waiting for a sign that this is going to work. You look at the thumbnail drive with the shimmering cat sticker sticking out of the old Solheim access port. You imagine the flow of data as the Katzenjammer seeks for an entry point into Karsten's system. You think of Junie, tucked away near the ship, watching you through the public networks. You think of Seraphin deep in the engine room of the rig. Hurry the hell up, you think. Enough waiting. Then you hear it. A pulsating white noise, spluttering and then screaming out of Karsten's shop. The shutter scissors up and down. The lights pulse. The alarm gurgles in confusion. For a moment, you are stunned into stillness. People stop in the street. Then turn to look as the shutter's motors burn out in a cascade of sparks and acrid smoke. Now or never. This is gonna go great. Ah, neutral. We take it. You skirt around the people watching, using them as a perimeter. They are pointing and talking, some of them laughing, while others look concerned. Confidently push past them and glide inside, without looking back. It takes a moment to gather yourself in the chaos of the shop. The wall-mounted screens scream out white noise, and the flickering lights make it hard to concentrate, but you keep your focus. You scramble over to the feed lines, in the window, grabbing the bundle with both arms. They wave wildly in your grasp as you wrench them away and kick off from the counter, gliding back into the passage. Your arcing glide takes you into the crowd. You steer yourself through a gap in the gathering bodies and kick off hard towards the port. The feed lines wave wildly, but you grip them hard to your chest and don't look back. Seraphin better be ready. Your arms ache from clutching the feed lines, but you don't loosen your grip until you see the entrance to the docking bridge. Sleeper! You almost ignore the call until you realize you recognize the voice. Junie glides out to meet you, her hand on your shoulder, guiding you towards the bridge. I'm with you now. She shoots you a glance. What a show, huh? She laughs nervously. It was certainly loud. She smiles a little. Wish I could have seen the cat in action. You both glide down the bridge, Junie helping you with the trailing feed lines. From what you can tell, news of the chaos in Factory Row has not reached the port yet. You feel a flush of excitement as you enter the ship's airlock. This is it. You did it. You try to keep focused, but the elation makes your hands tremble. You take a sharp turn in the central passage of the ship and make your way into the engine room. The feed lines now unwieldy in the cramped space. Seraphin is waiting on you, shaking his head. Looks like we're in business. He lets out a sigh. And now on the run from 2 different people now. He grabs the feed lines. I'll take it from here. He quickly begins the process of connecting the engine to the subsidiary fuel tank. You watch, catching your breath as he works. How about you make yourself useful rather than just making me nervous, Seraphin says without looking up from his work. Go close the airlock and disconnect the bridge. Young Junie glance at each other. Both of you, now! Seraphin calls out. The 2 of you turn and make your way up the passage. Your nerves settling now. You arrive at the airlock and reach for the control panel. Then you see him. Karsten. Coming up the docking bridge, fast. Let's see if we can close it. Let's see if we can close it. You're shaking hands and put the closure sequence just in time. The door hisses and slams shut in Karsten's face. He glares at you through the airlock's window, but as he does, the docking bridge's shutters scissor closed, blocking him from view. You hear a clunk as the clamps disengage. You're free. Seraphin rushes past, gliding up the passageway from the engine room. Come on, get yourself strapped in. You and Junie silently follow him, your head spinning, your thoughts racing. You slip into your seat as Seraphin punches in the departure sequence. The rig begins to pull away from Hexport, Seraphin's hands on the controls. Close your eyes and feel the force of the thrusters firing. Export, escaped Hexport before Lane finds you. Achievement unlocked. I don't know if that's the chaos ending. I think that I just got through with as much of myself intact as possible. I think that there's always going to be a fair amount of chaos no matter what you do. What the? Seraphin's quiet question interrupts your thoughts as the rig cuts across the belt. Export is behind you, drifting out of visual range. Its glinting lights now just part of the background glow of the belt's thousands of reflective bodies. Whatever trouble you stirred up there has surely been left behind. Which is why Seraphin's muttering is worrying you. What's up? Seraphin turns. There's a transmission coming out of Hexport. Some kind of evac order? He turns back to his console. Let me check this. Sleeper. The voice, as it's distorted as it is, cuts through you. Lane. I know you are there. A hissing pause. Is that coming from Hexport? Seraphin glances at you, confused. Is what coming from Hexport? Give me a second here, Sleeper. I'm getting a wide-channel broadcast. He rubs his shoulder nervously. They're warning people to alter their course away from the station. You're slipping away. Squawk of noise. But we can't have that. Are you gonna blow up Hexport, you big jerk? I take this personally, Sleeper. A sharp intake of breath. After all my investment, all my care expended upon you, this is how you repay me. At least we're heading away, Seraphin interrupts. Maybe it's just a precaution. I see a little something glinting out there. Lane continues. Could that be you? Sleeper. You hear Seraphin calling, but you don't move. You don't breathe. All you hear is Lane's voice. You unclip from your restraint, drifting forward towards Seraphin. Gives you a wild look. Something isn't right. You don't feel right. A numbness grows in your body, your fingers flexing without your input. You reach out towards Seraphin. No. Not you. Something reaches out to Seraphin through you. A tension flickers in his eyes. Fear? A hissing silence. Then a rumbling blast. All at once the rig screams, systems seizing in electromagnetic paralysis. All at once the rig shifts, carried on some shockwave of light. Pain. Then darkness. Oh! Voices echo warmly through your mind. I think I know what that is. You can't quite make out what is being said, and any attempt to focus causes a growing flare of pain, so you let them fill the air. unidentifiable and soft. You're floating, and so you cannot yet feel your body or its weight. The feeling is pleasant, soothing, and yet the moment you realize this, it begins to fade. Something spasms in your fingers, and you flick it away. A sensation crosses the sole of your foot, and you kick your leg. A weight settles itself in your chest. You are awake. You open your eyes to light playing across the surface patterned with stained cushioning. You are alone. The voice is replaced by the hum of air cycling, the distant clank of maintenance ships. You are alone, and this is not your ship. You jerk upwards against the straps that hold you loosely to the berth, suddenly confronted with the last things you remember. An overwhelming numbness, and below it, an insipid animating force creeping through your mind. You pull at the straps and free yourself, floating up into the small habitation room, cushioned and worn, your mind racing. What happened? You search back and remember only Seraphine's shouts, the sudden acceleration of the rig, and then darkness. A chill runs through you. Cold light fills the room, and you float over to the dark square of the window. You see stars, the bright pinpricks of drive trails, and skeletal docking bridges. This is a station. A sudden hiss has drawn your attention to the door, which slides open with a puff of equalizing pressure. Oh, it's Bliss! The entering figure jumps as they see you are awake. You're up! They hesitate in the doorway. Who are you? They laugh nervously. Right, we didn't meet. They glance back out of the doorway as if looking for help. I'm Bliss. They shrug, not sure what to add. Your crew are out. Sorry. They brought you here. Here? Right. They nod slowly. This is my room. They glance around. Not much, I know. We are in my repair bay, on the far spindle, if you know where that is. In the belt? Yeah. They smile sympathetically. In the belt. They look around the room again. Come on. Let's go somewhere a little more comfortable. They hold out a hand. You're safe, don't worry. Follow them out into the corridor, gliding behind them. They move with the ease of someone who was either born in Zero-G or has spent most of their life in it. They guide you to an enclosed balcony where heavily scratched, thick acrylic windows look out on a chaotic-looking wet dock. At the center of the dock is the rig, scratched and worn, but still your ship. It's a reassuring sight. Is she okay? She will be when I'm done with her. Bliss sees you staring at the rig. Took some damage, but she's a hardy old thing. Your ship... Bliss pauses. You were lucky I heard your distress signal. You sense they are holding something back. I wouldn't call Bliss Space Jesus. Bliss, unless my brain is busted, was in the first game and was certainly helpful, but yeah, unless this is a different Bliss, but it would be odd to reuse this name. I guess that expensive long-range array I was tricked into buying finally paid off. They laughed to themselves. Well, at least for someone. You were out cold when I got there. They've been out for cycles since. Your friend wasn't in great shape either, but he bounced back fast. I make a habit of doing that. Seraphine's voice makes you spin around. Good to see you up. Can't suppress his smile. You okay? He smiles. Don't start fussing over me, sleeper. I'm good. Your eyes fall to Seraphine's bandaged abdomen. He notices and pulls his jacket over the wound. It must have been real bad. He's wearing a shirt. It certainly looks better than when you came in. You should have seen. Bliss abruptly stops after Seraphine glares in their direction. Here. Seraphine pulls a few chits out of his pocket. Catch. He slings them over to Bliss. That's all I could get for now. What are you paying them for? Seraphin laughs. Who do you think put the rig back together? Bliss looks at you apologetically. I know what it looks like, but I'm sorry, I can't work for free. Keeping this place going is bad enough. How dare you not be able to provide things infinitely for strangers that you met? I get it. Seraphin nods. We're just thankful you towed us in. We aren't freeloaders. Bliss looks between the two of you. I'll let you two catch up. They turn to you. Glad you're awake. We were worried. They pat you on the shoulder and glide back down the corridor. With Bliss gone, silence descends on you and Seraphin, both of you unsure what to say. Where's Junie? She's probably on the ship working on that deck of hers. Seraphin looks out at the ship. She's been useful. Not sure we would have gotten that distress signal out without her. What do you remember? He looks at you with concern. Lane. Seraphin grimaces at the mention of his name. Lane? He shakes his head. Seraphin looks out at the rig. He takes a breath, steeling himself for what he's about to say. What he has to say. Export is... yeah. He clears his throat. It's gone. Lunches. What do you mean, gone? It's gone. Seraphin catches your eye. Dropped off the map. No signals apart from the ones sent by Fling's ships. He frowns. I don't know what happened. No one does. Your mind skips, unable to focus on the information you've just been told. So, this seems like a lot of trouble for one sleeper. Like, blowing up an entire settlement, I guess we would call it, like that. That's a lot for one sleeper. So, I think Lane knows something about us that Lane is not telling. This little hair right here keeps on. Because that's a lot. To blow up a whole thing like that. Woof. Your mind skips, unable to focus on the information you've just been told. You think of the constant activity of the bends, the rumble in Factory Row. Karsten. Gone. By the time Bliss reached us, we had drifted out of range. They couldn't have seen it go up. But I saw a sleeper. Something exploded. White hot. He rubs his arms, suppressing a shiver. A moment later, the shockwave was on us. The rig was crippled. Engine kept firing, but guidance was offline, sending us arcing out across the belt. He drops a hand inside his jacket, pressing against the bandage on his side. I managed to get her under control, but not before we started spinning. My restraints came loose, and you weren't even strapped in, so we both got scrambled. Smile's a weak smile. Felt like being trapped in an auto wash. He turns back to you. I'm impressed you made it, to be honest. Flesh and blood human would have been smashed to pieces. He goes silent, the image a little too raw for him to continue. Can't believe it. You and all the belt, Seraphin sighs. All anyone is seeing is debris and radiation. I picked up a lot on ship transponders before the rig went offline. Maybe some people got out. He stops, unable to add anything more. You both float in silence for a moment. But now? Seraphin laughs weakly. One step at a time. You in a rush? We already owe Bliss for the work they did on the rig, and it isn't finished yet. A few more cycles, I've been told. Bliss won't hold us hostage, but I don't like to skip out without paying, even if we could get the rig started up. He rubs his necklace between his fingers. Bad karma. Beyond that, we need work. Fuel, supplies. Already full on those. And we need to make sure you are okay. Counts off the issues on his fingers. After that, he shrugs. I haven't heard of anyone coming after us, and if they did, they would have to come through Hexport, or what's left of it. He looks away. Far Spindle is way out of Lane's territory anyway. They call this bit of the belt the Wash, and the stations here run differently to Darkside. So, for now, we have some freedom. Seraphin sighs. Freedom to go broke, starve, and get in even more trouble, that is. In all honesty, I was hoping you might have some ideas. Pats you on the shoulder. I want to explore this place. Bar Spindle, there's plenty here to see. This is a free station, so no faction holds control. It's quite the circus. Watch your step out there. Seraphin pauses and stares down. Look, Sleeper. He rubs his side. I'm not sure I can work right now. I just got kicked out of a salvage yard for passing out on the job. He looks away. Even with the pain meds I've been able to scare up. I can fly, that's for sure. He stares obstinately at the rig. But you're going to need to do some crew work if you want to do any... you're going to need some crew if you want to do any serious work. He chews his lips. Sorry. Don't be. Seraphin nods. Thanks, Sleeper. He turns away. I'm going to go take a rest on the rig. I'm wiped. You look out at the rig as he leaves, the warmth and softness of your waking moments now feeling like a distant memory. Is this what you wanted? Freedom? A chance to work for yourself, not for Lane? Well, here it is. With all the problems and complications you could imagine. At what cost? Could Lane have wiped out Hexport just to try and end you? You shiver at the thought. But if not Lane, then who? Theories cloud your mind. Let's dwell on them just for fun. Could it have been Conway? A drone or mind-drifting starward? Senate staff, perhaps, with some plan to weaken the belt. Or a belt faction attempting to flip the board by intent or mistake. The belt had considered itself safe from the war brewing in the inner system. But now? Export's loss will be felt all across the starward belt. But what does that mean to you? Your needs are much more immediate, apparent. Those must come first. Take a breath. Time to make a plan. You have gained some glitch. Your current level of glitch is represented by the glitch clock to the right of the dice. You can have a maximum of 6. Roll a glitch dice. You clear 1 level of glitch. 80% chance of negative. 20% chance of positive. Oh, Junie. You find Junie in the airlock, her small collection of things crammed into her bag. I was coming to see you, I promise. He looks nervous. I was waiting for you to wake up, but Seraphin said you were okay, so... That's okay. He smiles. Thank you, Sleeper. I'm glad you're feeling better. While you were out, she pauses, the concern for you obvious. I was digging into the data I pulled from that core, the Solheim one. There's a lot of stuff in there. But it's impossible to read. Either I'm deciphering it wrong, or I don't have the right cipher. Whatever it is, I think it means the data is important. He takes a breath. Or at least it was to Solheim. I'm wondering if, because of some of the things I've read about the game, I do think that there is part of it that's being a piece of a bigger puzzle of conflicts going on that we haven't fully understood yet, but I don't think it's that we're super special. I think it's that we maybe have a piece of information that is important, which would make us somewhat special. That's my current hypothesis going on in my brain. But I don't know. We'll find out. I do know that Lane seems like a pretty bad dude. There's a non-zero chance in my brain that Seraphin is up to something nefarious. Like, I'm just keeping an eye on that. There's nothing serious that's indicating that right now, but I'm just keeping that in mind. I need to find someone to help me pick away at it, to crack it open. He looks down. That's why I'm going. We can take you there. No, look. He takes a sharp breath. After what happened with the rig, the saving us, we are all lucky to be alive. She shifts her bag on her shoulder. I think I'm better off alone. For now. Oh, she suddenly reaches into her bag, producing a handful of chits. Some of the data I sold, just so I could buy myself a ticket to where I need to go. It's not much, but here's your share. She passes you the chits. Yeah, kinda need 'em. Thank you. She smiles. You deserve more. She catches herself. I mean, sorry. Good luck, sleeper. And tell Seraphim goodbye for me. What are you chasing? He freezes, caught off guard by your question. She pauses. I know there's value, true value in that data, sleeper. I know it. And She pauses again, unsure of herself. I have a project to continue. One I won't abandon. Maybe I can tell you about it another time. She smiles weakly, closing up again. Well, she rubs the back of her neck. See you around. You watch her drift away down the docking tunnel and into the far spindle, with questions still bouncing around your head. Maybe, if your paths cross again, you might be able to get some of them answered. This one's a tall one. Right, I'm gonna look around at all the places and then I think I'm gonna call it because my voice needs a rest. Cruise on the core. What's this clock? Lane can't follow, so we're safe, and that's why there's 6 notches on that clock. We've got our social strata here. Got some real bad dice. Everything is risky plus. Yeah, we'll do one round of things. One cycle of things. Yeah. I mean, it's a safe action. Oh, whatever happens, happens. Achievement unlocked. Got a positive outcome with glitch dice. I mean, let's do it again. You annoy one of the chefs and they saddle you with loading the auto wash. By the time you're left, there isn't much food left. Okay. I got a saving. I'm gonna end the cycle just to make sure it saves. And then it will be wrap-up time. Scavenge. Get the chance, Seraphim. No rush, bud. You're in pretty bad shape. Time since last autosave, 0 seconds. This is good. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to keep doing this on stream because it is quite a lot of reading aloud, but if this intrigues you, It's available on Game Pass for PC. I assume Xbox, but don't hold me to that. Do your own research, please. And it's real good. I also recommend the first game if you haven't played it. Extremely good. But that's gonna do it for me for right now. Citizen Sleeper 2. It sure is happening. We sure are in space. And things sure are happening. Woo! Alright. That's gonna do it for me. And I will see you in the future. We'll be back for more Backlog Busters Brigade on Tuesday. I sure hope, assuming that the internet still works on Tuesday. Fingers crossed. I'll see y'all later. Bye!